The silence has gone on for too long. And this time, Kanu'S lawyers have decided they're done with calm talks and quiet letters. They've drawn the line, and they're coming out strong, louder than ever, accusing the Nigerian government and the DSS of crossing every boundary of justice. Their voices are shaking with anger. Their patience is gone. They say this is no longer just a legal matter, it's a fight between truth and wickedness. According to them, Nnamdi Kanu'S health has reached a critical point, yet those in charge are pretending not to see. They've been denied every request for him to get proper medical attention. Even when the court gave orders, the DSS found new excuses to delay, deflect, or simply ignore. And now, the lawyers say the government silence has turned into a weapon. One of them described it as a slow execution in disguise. Another said, they want him to fade quietly, so they don't have to answer questions later. Those words hit like thunder. They revealed that Kanu'S personal doctors haven't been allowed to see him. That his prescribed medication has been delayed. And that each passing day inside that DSS cell is a risk to his life. The more they talk, the more it sounds like this is not about law, it's about punishment, hidden behind official orders. Their tone is sharp, emotional, and full of fire. They said they have filed countless applications, written letters, and made repeated appeals, but each time, the government looks the other way. Each time, the DSS claims everything is fine. But if everything is fine, the lawyers ask, why are they afraid of allowing an independent medical team? That question hangs in the air. And no one has a clear answer. In their latest statement, the lawyers didn't just talk, they warned. They said if anything happens to Nnamdi Kanu in custody, the Nigerian government will bear the full blame before the world. They vowed to take the matter beyond Nigeria's borders, to international courts, human rights bodies, and global media. Because to them, this is no longer just about one man. It's about a system that uses power to silence those it fears. They painted a clear picture, a man growing weaker while the people in charge act like nothing is wrong. A man locked in a room where every breath is controlled by others. A man whose right to health is being turned into a political game. The lawyers said it's heartbreaking to watch. They spoke with raw emotion, saying Kanu'S situation has become a national shame, a test of whether Nigeria still respects justice at all. And the sad truth is, this test is not being passed. They said, we are lawyers, but even we can see this is not about law anymore. This is cruelty. Their statement spread across social media like wildfire. Hashtags exploded. Voices from every corner started asking the same question, why can't the DSS obey the court? Why keep a man under such conditions if the law has already spoken? For many, this is proof that Nigeria's justice system is walking on fragile legs. If court orders mean nothing, what happens next? If human rights can be ignored, who will be safe tomorrow? The lawyers said they're not giving up. They will continue to push, to speak, to fight, until something changes. They said Kanu'S health is a red line, and that line must not be crossed. They've also called on the international community, saying global human rights groups must step in before it's too late. They urged Amnesty International, the United Nations, and every voice that believes in justice to demand answers. Because silence, they said, is becoming deadly. And as they spoke, you could feel the emotion in every word. They sounded like people who have seen enough, people who are tired of begging the same system that refuses to listen. They said it clearly, we are done with polite letters. This is now a matter of life and death. They ended their statement with a powerful message, one that still echoes online, if anything happens to our client, no one should say they didn't know. We have spoken. We have warned. We have cried out. And history will remember who kept quiet. That line hit hard. Because it's not just about Nnamdi Kanu anymore, it's about what justice really means in a country where power decides who lives freely and who doesn't. The lawyers have lit a fire that won't go out easily. They've made sure the world is watching. And now, the government is under pressure, every silence, every denial, every delay is being noticed. The battle is no longer just in courtrooms. It's in headlines, on social media, in conversations everywhere. The question has become louder than ever: will the government finally do the right thing? Or will it continue this dangerous game until something tragic happens? One thing is sure: the lawyers are not backing down. They've made it clear that Kanu'S life is not a pawn, and his health is not a political trophy. They are fighting back with everything they have, and this time, the world is listening. The message from Kanu'S lawyers has left a deep mark. Not on social media. Not on trending pages. But in the hearts of people who can see the truth for what it is: a life slowly being tested by power and silence. Across the country, people are talking in quiet tones. Not out of fear, but out of frustration. Because everyone knows when justice begins to lose its meaning, a nation begins to lose its soul. The lawyers have said their part, and now, the weight of their words hangs heavy over the government. The question remains: will those in power listen? Or will they continue to hide behind the walls of bureaucracy, pretending that nothing is wrong while a man's health slips away? Inside detention, Nnamdi Kanu'S world has become smaller, colder, and quieter. The walls are the same. The routine never changes. But his health is not what it used to be. Those close to the case say he is holding on with strength, but even strength has limits. And that's what frightens many. Not just his supporters, but anyone who understands the cost of silence. Because silence, in moments like this, is louder than words. There's a sense that this situation has gone beyond law and politics. It has become a test of conscience. A test for those in authority to show whether they still believe in fairness, or whether they have chosen convenience over compassion. The lawyer's warning echoes still: if anything happens to him, the Nigerian government will bear full responsibility. That statement was not made lightly. It was a cry that carries the weight of justice, pain, and warning all at once. Many people who follow the case know one thing for sure: the system has failed too many times before. Court orders are often treated like suggestions. Human rights are spoken about, but rarely respected. And every delay feels intentional, every excuse too well timed to be coincidence. Kanu'S health has now become a mirror reflecting the state of the nation. When justice cannot protect one man, what hope remains for the rest? When a simple court order cannot be obeyed, what meaning does the law still hold? These are the questions no one in power seems ready to answer. And that's what makes the situation more dangerous. Because people are not blind. They can see what's happening: the stalling, the excuses, the quiet games being played behind closed doors. And all of it, at the cost of one man's health. The truth is bitter, but it cannot be hidden forever. The government knows the world is watching. They know the responsibility that comes with holding a man in custody. And they know that history does not forget those who ignore warnings. The lawyers continue to press for medical treatment, but the silence from the DSS grows heavier by the day. No clear answers. No real action. Just reports and statements meant to calm the storm, but the storm is not calming. It's growing stronger, one heartbeat at a time. This has become more than just a legal standoff. It has become a moral struggle, between doing what is right and doing what is convenient. Between humanity and politics. Between truth and silence. Nnamdi Kanu'S name may divide opinions, but his health should unite hearts. Because at the end of the day, sickness knows no politics. Pain does not care about tribe or ideology. And justice, if it truly exists, should protect even those the system does not like. The lawyers have said they will not stop. They will continue to speak, to fight, and to hold the government accountable until something changes. Their tone has shifted, not desperate, but determined. They are standing firm, knowing that this battle is bigger than one man. If the government continues to ignore the warning, it will not just be remembered as a failure of justice, it will be remembered as cruelty made official. Because the moment a nation begins to play with human life, it loses the right to call itself just. The air around this case is thick, heavy with fear, truth, and defiance. No one knows what will happen next, but one thing is clear: the world is waiting. The lawyers are watching. And time is running out. This is no longer just about Nnamdi Kanu'S freedom. It's about Nigeria's conscience. and how far it is willing to go before it finally does what is right. There's a growing anger in the air. Something doesn't feel right. The silence around Nnamdi Kanu'S health has become too heavy, too strange, and now his lawyers have finally exploded. This time, they didn't speak in soft tones. They didn't try to be diplomatic. They came out with fire in their words, accusing the Nigerian government and the DSS of playing dangerous games with the life of their client. They said it clearly: the government is toying with his health. And that single statement sent shockwaves across the country. Kanu has been in detention for a long time now. Too long. He has gone through more than anyone should bear: isolation, endless court sessions, and constant restrictions. But now, the fear is that something deeper, something silent, is happening behind the walls of detention. His lawyers said his health is deteriorating. They say he's not being given the care he needs, not being allowed to see his personal doctors, and not receiving proper treatment. They describe it as a slow and deliberate attempt to break him down. They call it a silent weapon, not of law, but of pain. Their words cut deep. They said, this is not about justice anymore. This is about survival. Because if a man is kept in custody and denied the chance to care for his health, what is that if not punishment in disguise? The lawyers are not just shouting for attention, they are sounding an alarm. They're warning that the situation is reaching a dangerous point, a point where silence could cost a life. And while the DSS keeps saying he's fine, the people are beginning to doubt. They've seen this movie before, where truth is hidden behind official statements. Where reality is replaced with silence. Kanu's lawyers said they have tried every legal path possible. They have written letters. They have filed applications. They have pleaded with the courts. Yet, nothing changes. Each time, they are met with the same old wall of denial. And now, frustration has turned into anger. They say what's happening to Kanu is no longer an issue of politics, it's an issue of humanity. A man's health should not be used as a bargaining chip. But right now, that's exactly how it looks. Even people who don't support Kanu's ideas are beginning to ask the same question: why is the government afraid of obeying the court? Why does it take so long for a simple act of justice? And why does his health seem to get worse every time there's silence from the authorities? The more his lawyers speak, the more people begin to sense a darker truth, that something is being hidden. That there is more going on than the public is allowed to know. That his health may be the real battlefield now. Because when you cannot silence a man's voice in court, you target his body. You weaken his strength. You drain his energy. You break his will slowly, one day at a time. That's what his lawyers are saying. That's what they're afraid of. And as they speak, emotions rise everywhere. Some call it injustice. Some call it wickedness. But all agree on one thing: something is deeply wrong. In many parts of Nigeria, people are now whispering, what if something happens to him in custody? What if this is their plan all along? What if the delay in medical care is not a mistake, but a message? Every time these questions rise, so does the tension. Every time there's silence from the DSS, fear grows louder. The lawyers are pleading, not just for justice, but for life itself. They say, we are talking about a human being. A son. A brother. A leader to many. They warn that his condition cannot be ignored any longer, and that those responsible must act before it's too late. But inside the system, it's business as usual. Court orders are ignored. Doctors are blocked. Letters are unanswered. And time keeps ticking, slowly, dangerously, without mercy. This is not just about a man in custody anymore. It's about what the rule of law means in Nigeria. It's about whether the government listens to its own courts or bends the system for convenience. It's about whether justice is still alive or if it has become just another story told for show. As the lawyer's statement spreads across social media, emotions boil over. Supporters are furious. Critics are uneasy. Even neutral voices are beginning to question the government's silence. Because no matter what anyone thinks of Kanu's politics, one truth remains: health is not a game. And when someone's life is at risk, there should be no delay, no denial, no deceit. The tension is not just in the courtroom anymore. It's in the streets. It's in the conversations. It's in the hearts of millions who have seen how justice is handled in this country: slow, selective, and often cruel. The lawyer's message is clear, emotional, and sharp: if anything happens to him, we will not keep quiet. They say they will hold every responsible hand accountable, because the game being played with his health is a line no one should cross. And now, the whole nation is watching. Waiting. Listening. Will the government finally act? Or will this silence continue until the unthinkable happens? One thing is certain: this story is no longer just about politics. It's about life. And the clock is ticking.